Your passport might qualify you for another citizenship in as little as 1 year. No investment required. 20 nations write nationality discounts directly into their law, cutting waits of 10 years down to 2 or even 1 for citizens of countries they consider kin. In this video, you'll learn about every one of them, and near the end, the critical fine print regarding citizenships by investment. Every provision in this video comes straight from the statutes and the ministries that administer them. The same sourcing behind the citizenship catalogue inside the IMI Sovereign's private investor community, which tracks every path to citizenship across 195 countries. Links in the description. Naturalization waits are lengthening almost everywhere. Portugal doubled its standard requirement to 10 years in May. Sweden moved from 5 years to 8 in June. Peru went from one of the world's shortest timelines at 2 years to 5 in 2025. Through all of that tightening, one class of provisions sailed through untouched. Preferred nationality naturalization, the statutory discount states grant to citizens of countries they consider good neighbours and or family. The logic is decades old, in some case older than the constitutions now in force. Spain wrote its Ibero-American preference into the civil code. Brazil's Lusophone track, which we'll cover later, appears in the 1988 constitution. The Nordic states have exchanged fast lanes since the 1950s. Let's begin with the Iberian country. Spain asks ordinary applicants for 10 years of legal residence before naturalization. For natural-born nationals of Ibero-American countries, Andorra, the Philippines, Equatorial Guinea and Portugal, however, the figure drops to just 2 years. Brazilians also qualify despite speaking Portuguese, and so do Puerto Ricans. Note the phrase natural-born. The benefit attaches to nationality by origin, so a passport acquired through naturalization somewhere else does not open that 2-year door. Spanish courts have confirmed that distinction repeatedly. In practice, most applicants come from the Philippines and Ibero-American countries, including Brazil.
In our experience, the main challenge is not providing the nationality of origin or passing the DELE or CCSE examinations. While applicants generally pass these tests, securing the examination date can sometimes be difficult due to limited availability. The most significant issue is demonstrating continuous legal residency in Spain. Spanish law does not provide a precise definition of what constitutes as continuous residency, leaving it open to interpretation by authorities. As a general recommendation, applicants should avoid being away from Spain for more than 3 consecutive months at a time, as longer absence may raise concern about whether the residence requirements have been met. It is also important to show ties to the Spanish territories.
Across the border, Portugal just rewrote its nationality law entirely, and its preference survived. Portugal's new nationality law, in force since May 19th, raised the ordinary naturalization requirement from 5 years to 10. Nationals of the Community of Portuguese Language Countries, or CPLP, and of EU member states qualify after 7. The CPLP comprises Brazil, Angola, Mozambique, Cape Verde, Guinea-Bissau, São Tomé and Príncipe, Equatorial Guinea, and Timor-Leste, alongside Portugal itself. The 26 other EU member states and nationals of some 35 countries are on the 7-year track. Brazilians are by far the largest cohort among Portugal's naturalization applicants. We are observing an increase in new clients from Brazil, says Pedro Oliveira of Optimize Investment Partners, a Lisbon-based fund manager. Though he notes CPLP clients are a small minority of subscribers to his Golden Visa-eligible fund, and interest from other CPLP and EU countries has not materialized. 2 more details from the reform. Citizenship applications filed on or before May 18, 2026 fall under the old 5-year regime, and CPLP nationals retain their exemption from the Portuguese language test. Though in Oliveira's experience the exemption moves few decisions. since most non-CPLP clients want to learn the language of the country they visit every year anyway. The Portuguese case points at a broader pattern. Across Europe, an EU passport by itself buys years off the clock in other member states. Italy grants EU citizens naturalization after 4 years of legal residence, against 10 for third-country nationals. However, everyone faces the B1 Italian language requirement. Czechia requires that EU, EEA and Swiss citizens spend 3 years of permanent residence instead of the standard 5 in the country to naturalize, and Slovaks receive a further concession, exemption from the Czech language exam. Austria, among the strictest countries in Western Europe with its 10-year naturalization rule, lets EEA citizens apply after just 6. Germany is the counterexample. Its short-lived 3-year fast-track, scrapped in October 2025, rewarded integration merit, never nationality. And Berlin has never offered EU citizens a shorter path. Hungary, Bulgaria and Romania have accepted regimes of their own, but attached to ethnicity or descent, a different legal animal belonging to the citizenship by descent family. The most complete reciprocal system anywhere is further north. Denmark, Finland, Norway and Sweden each grant the other Nordic states citizens naturalization after just 2 years of residence. Iceland is the odd man out, and it requires 4. This arrangement has grown alongside the Nordic Passport Union since the 1950s. The gap to the ordinary track widens by the year. Sweden's new citizenship law, in force since June the 6th, raised the general requirement from 5 years to 8, while leaving the Nordic 2-year rule untouched. Denmark demands 9 years of continuous residence from most applicants and 2 from Nordic citizens. Norway and Finland both moved to 8-year general rules recently, with their Nordic figure still fixed at 2. A parallel mechanism exists alongside naturalization. That's acquisition by declaration. Natural-born Nordic citizens can claim Finnish citizenship by declaration after 5 years of residence, and Danish or Norwegian citizenship after 7, processed without the discretion that attaches to ordinary grants. Cross the Atlantic and the favour gets returned. Brazil's Article 12 grants nationals of Portuguese-speaking countries naturalization after a single uninterrupted year of residence, plus proof of good moral character, against 4 years on the ordinary track. Ministry of Justice waives the Portuguese exam for them. The route passes through permanent residency, which CPLP citizens also reach faster. 2 years of temporary residence on a CPLP visa against 4 for real estate investors, notes Francisco Litve of SETI.
Brazil is one of the best passports in the Americas, and at the same time has one of the shortest timelines to naturalization, just 1 year for those citizens of Portuguese-speaking countries.
1-year tracks recur across Central America. Honduras naturalizes Central Americans by birth after 1 year of residence, and Spaniards and Ibero-Americans by birth after 2. El Salvador's construction grants Spaniards and Hispano-Americans of origin a 1-year track. Mexico cuts its 5-year requirement to 2 for natural-born nationals of Latin American countries and the Iberian Peninsula, administered as a dedicated naturalization category. Nicaragua halves its 4-year requirement to 2 for the same group, and Central Americans by origin may opt for Nicaraguan nationality without renouncing their original one, an exemption the 2025 constitutional amendments preserved. Costa Rica applies the 2-tier logic at a slower tempo, 5 years for Central Americans, Spaniards and Ibero-Americans by birth versus 7 for everyone else. Colombia, which tightened its rules in 2023, requires 5 years of domicile on permanent residency, reduced to 2 where reciprocity applies, as it currently does for Spaniards, Mexicans, Salvadorans and Hondurans. Panama has the region's purest reciprocity model. Its constitution admits natural-born nationals of Spain and Latin American states on whatever terms their home country would impose on a Panamanian. Practice, that means as little as 1 year for Salvadorans, 2 for Spaniards and Mexicans, and 3 for Uruguayans, against 5 on the ordinary track. Venezuela halves its 10-year requirement to 5 for nationals of Spain, Portugal, Italy, Latin America, and the Caribbean. Argentina, notably, offers no preference. Every nationality faces the same timeline. Now, the English-speaking Caribbean approaches kinship differently, procedure instead of speed. In the Commonwealth Caribbean, independence-era constitutions allow citizens to acquire nationality by registration, an entitlement-style mechanism, while other foreigners face discretionary naturalization. St. Vincent and the Grenadines illustrates the model. Commonwealth citizens ordinarily resident for 7 years may register as citizens under the Citizenship Act of 1984, whereas ordinary naturalization contemplates roughly 9 years and rests on ministerial discretion. Comparable provisions survive across the region, though each act sets its own residence period, and several have tightened without much announcement. So check the statute in force before you play around one. One point is often misunderstood though. CARICOM free movement confers no citizenship rights. Trinidad and Tobago's foreign ministry states plainly that a CARICOM national wishing to settle permanently must apply under the host state's ordinary residency or citizenship law. Which brings us to the fine print about citizenship by investment we promised at the top. Most of these preferences attach to nationality by origin. Acquire a qualifying passport through a citizenship by investment program, and the discount does not reliably follow. Brazil is an example. The constitutional wording covers those natural from Portuguese-speaking countries, which Litvey reads as citizens by origin only. His firm has fielded multiple inquiries about using São Tomé and Príncipe's citizenship program as a shortcut to the one-year track, and has told every one of them it would not survive on paper.
Some people have connected the dots. Francisco, can someone get São Tomé and CBI and then go live in Brazil for a year and apply for citizenship? So if you go to the Brazilian Constitution, on Chapter 3, Article 12, Inciso number 2, it says that the citizenship path for Portuguese originated citizens is 1 year. So it specifically says citizens of origin, cidadãos originários de países de língua portuguesa.
No CBI citizen has tested it yet. We welcome volunteers to test it out in practice, Litvey says. Portugal, Sweden, Finland and Norway all lengthened their ordinary tracks within the past 2 years, while leaving their kinship lanes at or near the old figures. Legislators appear to view these provisions as diplomatic architecture, and diplomatic architecture outlasts migration policy. The discounts also compound with settlement blocks. Colombian who naturalizes in Spain after 2 years acquires EU-wide free movement. A Portuguese national in Brazil reaches one of Latin America's strongest passports in a single year. For anyone born with a qualifying nationality, the fastest second citizenship available requires nothing beyond time in the country. Now, all these routes require time in the country to naturalize, but in the European Union there are 4 more ways to get a passport without spending a cent. Check out the video on your screen now where we cover all 5. And subscribe with notifications on so you catch every rule change and new program announcement as we report it.